My takeaway is the exact opposite. You can be as unhinged, as arrogant, as divisive as you want to be, as long as you keep coming home to your narrative of the problem is the billionaires, the problems, it's the donor class. That's what we need to do.
Then you have, the podcast landscape.
The problem is the immigrants. The problem, it's the trans people. And he hammered that away over and over and over. And then you're fake independent media. You're not real independent media. And I'm now going to war because what we saw is a lot of these people, like Joe Rogan, would sit there and nod in agreement when I would make anti-Trump arguments and arguments in favor of a left-wing worldview. Then 3 weeks later, Ben Shapiro would come on and say the exact opposite of me on every issue, and he would nod along in agreement.
What's going on, guys? We got to talk about the leftists continuing to implode here because we got two of the most unhinged, most radical, most insane leftists on all of the internet. Kyle Kulinski joining forces with insanely deranged leftist Emma Vigeland. So this lady is notorious for having worked at TYT before and was so radical that even TYT could not handle her, and she either removed herself or was removed from the show. I'm not sure which, but either way, she left the show, started the Majority Report, and now her and Anna Kasparian are beefing, okay? They're beefing with everybody who's not a radical leftist. Joe Rogan's one of theirs as well, which is what they're discussing here in this video. Basically, Kyle says he wants to go to war with Rogan over abandoning the left. Like, this is how the left treats you. Like, how dare you? You left us, even though we kicked you out for not supporting weirdo transgender stuff. Still, you should have stayed put and been loyal. Otherwise, we will destroy you. That's what these radical leftists think. They wish that they had the power and ability to do that. What are you going to do? Do them like the CEO and shoot him in the back? These people are crazy, guys. Without further ado, let's go ahead and see what these lunatics have to say.
Then you're fake independent media. You're not real independent media. And I'm now going to war because what we saw is a lot of these people, like Joe Rogan, I was there. I was on his show 4 or 5 times. He would sit there and nod in agreement when I would make anti-Trump arguments and arguments in favor of a left-wing worldview. Then 3 weeks later, Ben Shapiro would come on and say the exact opposite of me on every issue, and he would nod along in agreement, right? And so at some point, you got to call a spade a spade. You're not independent media, and you're clearly just a vibes-based voter.
Well, I mean, Joe Rogan's, he's more really to the left, honestly, but he's kind of like moderate, and he's kind of always been that way. He supported Sanders, but if you go back far enough, so did I. But that's because you like the ideas. But then when you get down to the execution and you realize the problems of the ideas and how they're executed by the radical left, then you start not to like the ideas anymore. And I think that's where Rogan is at as well. A lot of us are, guys. The leftists have great conceptual ideas, but their execution turns to garbage. And when it does, they don't want to admit it. That's where we have the problem. The problem comes with the dishonesty in the lies and gaslighting after the execution fails. Like, well, this didn't work. The Republicans were right, and they refuse to admit that.
Right. You cocooned yourself in this right-wing echo chamber where you got right-leaning UFC people and right-leaning comedians, and Dana White, his boss, is super right-wing and loves MAGA. He put himself in this echo chamber. COVID helped to break his brain, and then look at that. He goes full MAGA. And you know what? That makes me look like a jackass because I was the one going in there taking him at...
He invited Kamala to go on his show. What are you talking? He invites everybody to go on his show. He just had Fetterman on his show too. So it's not like he doesn't listen to anyone. Like, Kyle doesn't go on a lot of other people's shows that he doesn't agree with. Like, I don't know what to tell these
face
people.
Value, acting kind, holding his hand and walking him through it like he was a toddler on these topics. And then, wow, in retrospect, would you look at that? You completely flipped. I mean, we were defending him, unfortunately, way too late, right? When people were already on to, I don't know, man, he's saying a little bit more right-wing things here. And we would be like, well, no, look, here's a compilation of all the times Joe Rogan said base things. He argued for universal health care. He argued for free college. He argued for higher minimum wage and this good thing and that. And I would show that compilation.
He literally still wants all of those things. He wants all of those things. He just thinks that the Democrats right now suck, which is true. Both things can be true. You could be on the left and still think that the Democrats are at the top today, the top players today, like Sleepy Joe and Kamala Harris, are garbage. Both things can be true, guys. This is not Obama's heyday. Okay, this is a whole different league of trash. Okay?
Go, see, I don't know what you guys are talking about. But guess what? When you decide I'm going to endorse Donald Trump after he lied to your face relentlessly for the entire podcast, telling brazen lies.
Which ones?
I'm sorry, all the charity is gone, all the sympathy is gone, and I have to come to a different conclusion now. My conclusion of you could hold these people's hands and walk them through it and talk to them like they're reasonable and work it out. It just didn't work. It just didn't work.
This guy believes that he's a reasonable one who's doing nothing but spreading facts. Have you heard any facts yet from him? I mean, you guys tell me. Let me know in the comments. Do you agree with me? And do you think I am spreading facts? Or do you think Kyle, this insane leftist, is spreading facts? And on what specifically?
And that's why you see a much more bold, aggressive style out of me where I'm like, fuck these people and the horse they rode in on. Because if what I did before didn't work, okay, I got to try a different approach now. So if it's just call these people the fucking frauds they are, well, then guess what?
The approach is to not be such radical leftists. People are voting against radical leftism. They're not voting for radical leftism. You were already crazy and deranged. These people support transing of little children, people that's practically babies. People that can't even talk. Some of these people talk about 2-year-olds know that they're trans. They can't even speak the damn English language. And you're the one who makes sense? Slap yourself.
Fool, slap yourself 3 times. Oh, try to do it.
It's ridiculous.
We're going to call them the frauds that they are.
But don't be like hard on yourself in that way. I mean, Bernie Sanders did the same thing where he was trying to go there, and I thought at the point Rogan could be reasoned with in that way, and his audience, it was important to try to communicate with them. Like the thing is like go on all these platforms. It's like why I went on Tim Pool, but I'm gonna go there in a way where I'm not gonna try to get invited back. Like I'm gonna go there and try to
adversarial.
Why?
At this point,
why can't you just talk to people normally? Like if I went on one of these guys' shows, I wouldn't be talking like I am now. I would be talking candidly about the details, but I wouldn't just call them radical leftists over and over again, right? I'd try to be maybe a tinge more respectful because I want people to actually listen to me. I don't just want to piss them off, but at the same time, over here, I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm keeping it real. These are insane, radical, deranged leftists. And they need to be called out as such.
Specifically with explicitly right-wing outlets. You got to go in there and you've got to eat their lunch because the only time that leftists get reinvited to these places is if you validate everything that they say. Right. And then that creates a perverse incentive for those leftist communicators as well because there's so much more money on that side of the equation.
Hey guys, these people are delusional. I mean, maybe you know what? Maybe Emma's right about one thing. Maybe there is more money on this side of the equation because it's something that the vast majority of Americans agree with. They don't agree with open borders, okay? They don't agree with World War III to support Ukraine. Like, this is not the things that people agree with. We don't agree with raising the price of every damn thing and then lying about it because we want the Democrats to continue to win. We don't agree with increased crime and then lying about it because we want to make the Democrats look good, okay? Because we want leftists no cash bail policies and soft on crime policies. Like we pro-criminal policies, but then throw the good guys in jail for dumbass stuff like misgendering somebody. These aren't things people agree with, guys. This is what they don't understand. If the vast majority of Americans agreed with all of this radical leftism stuff, Kamala Harris would have won. If people felt like their bank accounts were looking good and they was going into the holidays and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's looking solid, okay, Wallace was packed full of money, they would have voted for Kamala Harris. But nothing was going right between the economy, between the wars, the open border. There was so many things. The fact that it even was this close is astounding. They're projecting their own personal desires and wants and wishes and thoughts and viewpoints onto everybody else. Everybody clearly doesn't think this way. And they lie about the fact. These people have been doing this for way longer than me. Emma, I don't know how long she's been doing it, but Kyle's been out here for like at least like a decade or something. He's been out here for a long time. So he knows how to look at facts objectively. This dude is a liar. These people are not honest people. They're not good people. And you're mad because Joe Rogan is pointing out the facts just because it happens to help Donald Trump, just because the facts are inconvenient, guys. Let's lie about them so that the Democrats can win. Joe Rogan refused. People like me refuse. I'm not going to do it for the Democrats or the Republicans, just for clarity for anyone who's confused and thinks I'm just some sort of just raving black conservative. There's other people like that. There's other channels that are like that. That's not what I am over here. I consider myself independent with a conservative lean, and I'm going to say what the facts are. If it's inconvenient for whomever, including Trump, Vivek, and all of my favorite people, it just is what it is. They lose their mind. I'm not supporting them, but these people supported every Democrat, no matter what. That shows you that there's something wrong here. There's something very cult-like about this. They got freaking white dudes for Harris. That's not normal, guys. That's just weird as hell. If you supported Tim Walz, you got screws loose upstairs, okay? You don't have a full set of marbles, okay? Something is missing. And it doesn't matter if you try to blame Joe Rogan and other podcasts for spreading mis and disinformation. You guys lie. I've seen you guys' shows and a bunch of footage. These people lie every day, guys. Every day. And I'm sure that is intentional. I am positive, because a lot of these people have no morals, guys. They just want their side to win. They don't care. They actually believe that they were being nice before. They believe that people like Destiny, Kyle, and this Emma lady. Emma is the most deranged and crazy one out of all of them. They thought that they were nice before. You guys were never nice people. That's what you don't get. You were never nice. You were never good. You were never ethical. You were never moral. You were always bad and evil and stupid and mean and cruel, corrupt people supporting a bunch of pedos trying to trans children. Act all aggro you want, turn into little pissants if you want, but it's not going to help you win the next election. It's just going to turn even more people against you until you realize that the truth will set you free. Then you're going to continue to lose. But those are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
That happened to my friend Megan Murphy. She got banned for life because she said a man is never a woman, which is biologically true. They're scrambling to try to create their own version of this show. This is one thing that keeps coming up, like we need our own Joe Rogan.
Right.
But they had me.
Well, number one, they had you. Number one, they had you.
So they don't want any narrative contrary to what they have accepted as doctrine. Right. And that's what's so fucked up.